let's move on to the co-main event. The women's flyweight belt was on the line. Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy. Shevchenko does what Shevchenko does.
I'm going to be honest.
In the fourth round.
I didn't even fucking watch the fight, dude.
Well, I know. It's
we
one
were
of those
things.
things.
We were in deep conversation about bidets. I didn't give a fuck about this fight. I was like, Valentina's going to win. Okay, she's dominated. Oh, she took her down.
Well, and I think we
beating her ass on the ground.
I think we saw that after the first round, so we were like, okay, we know where this fight's going. And again, I hate doing that, and I hate sounding so disrespectful to these women in the flyweight division, because I think a lot of these girls could be, and I say the same thing with Amanda Nunes in her division as well with the bantamweights, but these flyweights, I feel like a lot of these girls could be champion if you didn't have Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, she's going to hold the belt until she retires, man. It's
just,
it is what it is in that situation.
It is what it is.
She's going to fucking dominate everybody. There's not a single contender at 125 pounds that can even compete with her.
No.
Not a single one. Like, okay, let's go down a couple lists real quick. You know, you got Jessica Andrade beat her ass. Caitlin Kukagian beat her ass. Lauren Murphy just beat her ass. Jennifer Maia won one round, but beat her ass. Cynthia Calvillo would get her ass kicked.
That's also when you know that's the best you can. That's the best case you can make for someone is, they won one round, so maybe. That's pretty sad, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, when you look at the dominance of Valentina Shevchenko, the only other person I want to see her fight now, and I know it's not going to happen, they're not going to do it, but I got to see her fight Amanda Nunes again. That second fight,
the only
we
fight.
always talk about it.
It's the only fight. It's either that or whoever the strawweight champion is can move up to 125. But if it's Rose Namajunas, if she beats Zhang a second time, that fight is never going to be made. They are sparring partners. The only time you're ever going to see that fight is in the gym, and there's no cameras on. Okay, I've seen a few videos. I'm not going to lie of them sparring. They go to fucking war.
I bet they do, dude.
War,
I bet they do.
And that's why fucking I think Rose is so good, because she's fighting that behemoth.
And I was obviously joking on the Fight Companion about the whole Brandon Moreno thing, but in all seriousness, when they do train together, I see those two hit each other, and I'm like, dang, they spar hard, man. I can only imagine what Rose and Valentina spar like. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't think that fight will ever happen. I'd like to see it. Mm-hmm. I definitely would, but I don't think. I think the only one right now is Amanda Nunes, unless Weili Zhang could somehow, beat Rose. But then it's like I'd rather see the trilogy in the strawweight division than to move up and fight Valentina. So you're kind of put between a rock and a hard place.
And I'm going to be honest, I don't think there's a single 115 pounder that can compete with Valentina either. Like,
no.
Rose maybe, Zhang maybe, but I still think Valentina dominates them.
Yeah.
In other areas, she's just too strong. She's too big. Like she's
and Valentina
like the most
used
jacked fighter in the division.
Yeah, and Valentina used to fight at 135 as well. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you also have that on top of it. So you're talking about a 20-pound disadvantage, and that's a lot of strength. 20 pounds on a female body is a lot of weight and a lot of strength. I would prefer to just see the Amanda Nunes fight at 135, but for some reason Dana doesn't want to make it. But it's so clear cut at this point. Like, Amanda is pound for pound greatest women's fighter. Pound for pound might be one of the best fighters, period, regardless of gender. And then you have Valentina Shevchenko, pound for pound, second greatest women's fighter right now. We got to make this fight eventually.
We got to figure out who the true GOAT is.
Because, like, Amanda does the same thing as Valentina, where it's just like you watch the first round, you go, okay, absolute domination, she'll finish her. So anyway, let's talk about this. Let's talk about bidets, right?
Cosmos Reverb shout out. The bidet talk was honestly more interesting than the fight.
yeah,
It's the truth. It's the truth. Like, we just weren't paying attention because we knew what was going to happen. And that's, for every single Valentina fight, we say this every time she fights. Like, she defends her belt a lot. She stays as very active. She fights 2 to 3 times a year, but I mean, it's like, okay, you're just going to get 2 to 3 W's a year. We all know. So until they make the Nunes fight, unfortunately, it's like, I'm not getting hyped. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately. Let's go to Church Coin picks. So I put 100 on Murphy just because, fuck it. Valentina was a minus 1,400 or some shit. Yeah. So it was like, no. It's like, I mean, I get it. It's an easy $100, but it's like, no. It's just not worth the squeeze. Right?
No, and not only that, but like we were betting so heavily on all these other fights that I put 100 church coin on Valentina Shevchenko, and I didn't even cash in the ticket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, let's not even worry about adding it. Because a minus 1,400 on 100 would be like, what, 6 church coin? Mm-hmm. Like something crazy like that, or 7 church coin. So whatever. I don't need them.
Yeah, absolutely. Gids, you put 2,000 on Valentina, and that gave you a return of like 100 church coin or something.
Yeah, 142
like
church coin, roughly.